There are three things, three components in order to become great. Gadlut. One is dat. We're going to talk about what dat is. The other one is Yegia. And the third one is Hasaga. Amen. That we learn really from Moshe Rabbeinu. It says that when, in the end of those days, Moshe Rabbeinu grew, Vayigdal Moshe, Vayetzeh Lechav, and he went out to see his brethren. If you look at the Ramban's commentary on this pasuk, on this verse, it says Shegadal ve'aya leish, that he matured and became a man. And then he says he became a man of dat. A man of dat. What's dat? What? Knowledge. So the Alei Shur brings the Gemara in Gittin about a certain controversy with regard to get. I don't want to get into the actual text in grave details. But the Gemara there says that a person cannot become great without having a good mind, which is dat. Dat is not just chokhmah. Chokhmah is knowledge or wisdom. But that is the ability to translate what you know or what you're learning and evaluate it. And looking at its rational underpinnings. What is going on here? What does the text say? What are the implications? What are the limitations of this statement? Is it true all the time? That requires dat. And a person cannot become a great man without having dat. It's not going to work, Yeshua. No shortcuts here. If you're not going to develop it, if you're not going to work hard and acquire the skill of dat, then you're not going to become great. I don't care whether it is in tennis, ping pong, or Torah. Because at some point, it's beyond the physical playing of the game. It becomes a mental game. Right? It becomes a very, very sports. When you get to a certain level, it becomes very mental. So strategy and tactics and psyching the other person out, and think about boxing. How much dat does it take before you actually get into the ring? That they're playing all sorts of games and watching and trying to figure out seichel, dat. The second component is called yegia.
Wait, shoman yegia?
No, that's nagia. I said yegia. It's not the same word. Well, it's the same root, but it's not the same word. Yegia means to work hard, to strive. Yegia, hard work. No one can become great without working hard. There are no shortcuts to this. If you want to be a gadol in Torah, if you want to be great in Torah, you're going to have to put in your time, David. You can't just do it by waking up at 11 o'clock in the morning. That's not going to work. You can't show up to class at 3:15 and assume that you're going to be great in Torah learning, Jeremy. Yegia is hard work. You cannot be great without working hard. And all of Gdolei Torah, the great sages of the Torah, you have to know that what they did was unbelievable. So, for example, the Alter Rebbe from Kelm, who was one of the students of Professor Salante, he was head of the yeshiva there. This is what he took on. He would learn 8 hours, 2 sdarim of 8 hours per day, with no breaks, 8 hours straight. Okay, 2 sdarim, so 8 hours, break, and another 8 hours. The Shmona Esrei that he davened was an hour, and that's 3 per day. Okay? So remember the Amida prayer that we stand and we take about, I don't know, or if it's really long, 4 minutes. If we're really fast, we can do it in 2 minutes. For him, every day, 3 prayers was just Shmona Esrei, 1 hour. And on top of that, he slept 4 times during the day, less than 30 minutes. That was his sleep cycle during the day. That's the Gra, the Gaon of Vilna, that was his schedule. And he took on that schedule. So he did that for, in 30 years, he was ill. He was almost deathly ill. And still he kept this schedule. So your schedule and the amount of hours that you put in to Torah learning, to anything, if you want to be great, you're going to have to work hard. It's not going to come to you without your hard work. Whether you want to become the blinds and curtains champion of the world, you want to be the greatest boxer, you want to be, I don't know, greatest Torah scholar. The idea is you need dat and you need yigiyah. You need to work hard. No shortcuts, Yosef. Now, hasaga. What's hasaga? That's what we were talking about yesterday. So, the Alei Shur brings a passage from the Tana de Rabbi Eliyahu that says that since in the same way that the Kadosh Baruch Hu has chambers upon chambers in the Torah, כך יש להם לתלמידי חכמים, לכל אחד ואחד חדרים בתורה. That each Torah sage has many, many rooms and interior rooms for his Torah. That is, if you keep learning and learning and learning, there will be teachings that Hashem is going to give you, open certain chambers for you, that you will be able to understand that nobody has figured this stuff out. So it says in the Mishnah, Kol ha'osek b'Torah lishma, zocher lidvarim harbe, ve'lo od, ela megalin lo razei Torah. Mishnah says, whoever toils in Torah lishma, for its own sake, not only does he get a lot of many different things, but he also is given the secrets of the Torah. So that is an aspect of hasaga, of this, that you're reaching, you're grasping, you are building in your mind and filling chambers and chambers full of Torah. So 3 things you need: dat, yigiyah, and hasaga. The hasaga says that you're going to reach the goals. That you're going to, if you want to put in the time to get the dot and do the hard work, you will reach and see fruits of your hard work, which is going to be chambers and chambers of Torah being open to you. That's the idea of hasaga. To seek something is to grasp it, to understand it, to acquire it. So that talks about the acquisition phase. But then, because then once you have those 3, now you take those 3 and apply them. It's not the 1 and the 2 gets to the 3, and then all 3 of them lead you to become great. Without the 3rd, you don't become great. You become mediocre. I told you, some people believe that this is the age of mediocrity. That's what people shoot for. C. As long as I just get a C, a B minus, I'm good. What about shooting for the best? Be all you can be. It takes too much work. I got to get on this game that I'm playing. I got to win. What did the Alei Shur say before? said that you have to believe. And the Rambam said this. Anybody can become a tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu. There's no limits on that. But you have to be very careful and know the powers that you have. And not jump too high. Because then you're going to crash and fall. So it's better to grow gradually, slowly. Right? Saba of Kelm was not just a, yeshiva bachar. I mean, he was a... Okay. Now, how do we understand greatness? So the Alei Shur brings verses that talk about the Kadosh Baruch Hu as being great. And there are a lot of psukim that talk about his greatness. And Rashi explains, Godlecha, your greatness, is midat tuvecha, is the virtue of your goodness. That is to become great, which is the terms that when Hashem is described as being great, we see that it's talking about the creation of the universe and the exodus from Egypt. Both of them are called great. That's when Hashem was great. Okay? And there are other examples, but the idea is that we could see that it's not about knowledge that makes you great. That's what the Alei Shur says. That's not what it is. What makes you great is the question as to what extent are you walking in the path of Hashem. And there are different ways to express one's greatness. Some of it could be in the Chidushei Torah. Some of it is through willing to sacrifice for the truth, like the Nitziv, right? You know the story of the Nitziv. The Nitziv was the Rosh Yeshiva in Volozhin, and the Russians, the government wanted secular learning in the yeshiva, and he closed it. He said no. And that was a big sacrifice. A big sacrifice of closing the yeshiva, because he understood that once you let them in, and they will dictate and limit how much time Torah is going to be learned, it's going to be over. And the idea is that to become great, there could be expressed in different ways. And that's the idea that we're looking at when we read the biblical stories of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, right, of Moshe Rabbeinu, of Yosef and his brothers, and the Tanaim, the Marayim, and the great Torah, the Torah greats of previous generations. We see what it means to become great. We have role models that we can help us shape our greatness. Chapter 10. Listen to what it says. It's a medrash in Kohelet Rabbah. You may have heard the statement before. Kol hanechalim olchim el hayam v'hayam einenu maleh. All the rivers flow to the sea, yet the sea is not full. All the Torah that the person learns is in his heart, and yet his heart is never full. Because the nefesh is never satiated from words of Torah. You could we want you to spend as much time as you can learning Torah, and you're not going to feel like, I'm full. That's it. One more daf and I can't do it anymore. There is always more room in your heart. And there's a question, why is it talking about heart? Why is it talking about mind? When we think of Torah learning, we think of it here. It's a mental thing. But here we're talking about the heart. And that's really going to be the focus of chapter 10, talking about the role of the heart in your journey. So what did we learn? There is no limit to the heart in its capacity to receive Torah. There's no limit. And it is necessarily so. The Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah that is, according to the book of Job, longer than the earth and deeper than the sea, wider than the sea. And the Torah is not limited at all, and therefore the kli, the vessel that receives the Torah, also has to be capable of receiving all of it. Very important. And kol haTorah she'adam lomed ena ela balev. All the Torah that a person learns, as we saw in the Medrash, is in his heart. Rabbeinu Avraham ibn Ezra, right, lived in the 11th century. He wrote a commentary on the Chumash, on the Tanakh also, wrote other books. He says that there's a question that fools ask. Fools ask the following question. Yeah. What did Moshe Rabbeinu do on Har Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights? What did he do up there? Study Gemara. That is, they mean the following. He went up to get the 613 mitzvahs, correct? You can get that in a few hours. A few hours. Tell him, here's all the 613, and go downstairs. He didn't need 40 days. So Rabbeinu Avraham ibn Ezra says, "Velo yadu im ya'amod sham im Hashem kemispar hazeh, vekefel kiflo shanim." He says they don't know that if he stood with Hashem, not 40 days, not 40 years, but multiply it by hundreds and hundreds. Lo yuchal ladat chelek me'elef mi'maaseh Hashem. He would not be able to know a part of the acts of the Kadosh Baruch Hu and his ways and the secrets of the mitzvahs. Because everybody thinks that it's the actions that are the most important, but he says that's not true. That's not true. It's the heart and the maaseh. It's the heart and the tongue. Beficha ulvavcha la'asoto. And we know, says the Ibn Ezra, he brings the Gemara that says, Rabbana Rachmana liba boy. Kadosh Baruch Hu wants your heart. He wants your act. Your action is important. But it depends where it's coming from. He wants you to want to do it. He doesn't want you to do it against your will. He wants you to do it with what we would say a full heart. To do it with your intention, with the feelings, with all of the right aspects of the heart. And that's the whole idea here. That really the tachlis of the Torah, the real purpose of the Torah, is to know the acts of God and his ways. And that's not here. Because there's an aspect of knowledge in the mind, but it needs to be translated into the heart, that you're actually doing it. It's not studying, let's say, philosophy, and you don't really live by it. It's not just theory. The purpose of the Torah is not only for you to know that there's God and this is his nature and this is what he wants and this is how he acts, but he expects you to act this way. He expects you to continue what he has started. You have a role in this. And so that's the whole idea. That whatever is accepted, implanted into the heart, it becomes part of who you are. Once it's accepted by the heart, implanted into the heart, it's part of your heart, it becomes part of your essence. Without the acts of mitzvot, you're not going to be able to connect to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's through the actions that your heart connects to Hashem. Not the other way around. You understand that? It's through your actions that your heart is going to connect to Hashem. But without your heart, you're not going to continue. And that's the idea of getting the heart to be connected and therefore to develop the connection to the Kadosh Baruch Hu that Hashem wants you to have. Okay, now, since there's no limit to your heart, it means that it's very hard also to come to an understanding of a man's heart. Because there's no limit to it. And the question that I think you alluded to was, how can a person who is great can live with such a regimen, right? And work so hard and little sleep and all of those things. And it says because it has to do with the heart. He's got a lev gadol, a big heart. A big heart means he's got the capacity to do this, to become great. I didn't talk about love. That is what it means in sort of American nomenclature. Oh, he's got a big heart. That means he's a teddy bear, he loves everybody, he's generous, yeah. That's not what he's talking about. Big heart in this sense, it means that everything that he does with his heart is that his Torah is in his heart. His prayer, when he does it with his heart. When he acts, he does it with his heart. He's got a kavanah. He's all into it. That's the idea of the heart. Tefillin, he's into putting on the tefillin. Not like, the tefillin like here, move it like this. I mean, there's people who, they're not into it. They're not into it. The idea is to be into it. Come to class, ready to, that's it. Give it energy. Get in there. Shabbos, get in there. Shalom Aleichem. Right, that's up. No, that's not Shabbos. That's the idea. That's lev gadol. That you're fully in. That you're putting when you're learning Torah, you're in. You're not. You are trying to figure out, what does Hashem want me to say? What does He want me to know? What is going on here? I found this object. What does Hashem want me to do with this? On what situations can I take it? What situations I can't take it? Hashem is talking to you. Same thing with prayer. Prayer is an opportunity to speak to Hashem. That's it, you and Him. Is your heart in it? Or is it like this? No, you have an opportunity. Don't let that slip. Don't let that slip. The difficulty is some people say, Rabbi, I don't feel it. Okay, let's work on it. Get that feeling. Get into it. You see, it's not only, this is the challenge of translation. It's not only translating the meaning of the words, but understanding the cultural context of one culture to another. Yeah. So that everybody can hear lev gadol. Lev is heart, gadol is big. Okay, yofi, shkaya. But what does it mean? Different context. It's not a question of potential. It's a person that, because of his big heart, he's fully into whatever he's doing. And that is necessary to become great. That's what the Alei Shur is telling us about. So he says that everything is working with the heart. Because he says, the idea of lev is not just a feeling. It's not just a feeling. The Shulchan Aruch in Ilchot Tefillin says that when you put on the tefillin, right, one goes on your arm keneged alev, right, to your heart, and one is on your head for the moach, right? And he says that the reason we're doing is so that we have control, handing over the control of the neshama, which is in the mind, moach, and the brain, and the lev. And what's the lev? The lev is, those two places are the ikar place of desires and thoughts. That's it. The heart is the source for your desires and your thoughts. And that's where you have to concentrate and pay attention to what's going on there. What's going on there? Is lights out? Everyone's asleep? Or when things get woken up and you get excited, what are you getting excited about? That's the idea of the tefillin, that you're harnessing that for the service of Hashem. The arm and the head is to harness that for the service of Hashem. Because that is Zeu Adam Atzmo, which is what is in the heart. Okay. Now, not everybody has a great heart, a big heart. And not everybody can maintain purity of the heart. Because what makes the heart impure? Bad moral virtues, desires. And for a person to become great, he has to have a big heart. And what requires is the perfection of the heart. You can't have that and become great, in a sense of what we're talking about. You can define greatness in different ways, so you could say that people who are evil could also become great. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about that. So, all of the mitzvot that are tied to the heart help you develop the perfection or the moral completion of your heart so that you get your good heart. Rabbi Nechunia ben Akaneh says with regard to the heart, he says, Banai chayechem, en karov lifnei hamakom kelibo shel adam. Nothing is closer to Hashem than a man's heart. Nothing is closer to Hashem than your heart. V'nicha kama yoter mikol hakorbanim ve'alavin dekol alma. And it is better than all of the sacrifices and gifts that people offer. The heart. That's what we said, that Hashem wants your heart. You have to be in it. You have to be in it. And that's the idea. The lev is considered the holy of holies of the human being. Because it is what leads us to the will and the thoughts of Hashem. Right? It leads our will and our thoughts to Hashem, to the Creator. And it is what is going to bring us closer and closer to Hashem. That's where it starts. And we see that in Shir HaShirim, for example, it says that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is called the heart of the people of Israel. Liban shel Israel. That's sort of the connection. And if you want to become great, if you want to really develop, then the beginning is to open your heart. Get out of the sort of emptiness that you feel in your heart, and then you're going to become a brand new person. A brand new person means that you're using your heart to pray. You're using your heart to connect to Hashem, to do mitzvot. And that is really the service of Hashem, which we're going to pick up on Sunday. Mincha soon.